So I just defined my enclosing tag table, right? So the next thing for me to go and do, right, it should be for me to keep in my row, right? So I can just do CR is defining the row, and inside this row goes my header elements. So here I can keep maths, right? English, right? So math English, let's see how that's coming out on down part of this page, right? I don't trust this header, sorry, I don't trust this table guy. I've never trusted him. Math English, well, that's weird, but I guess I have to keep a border. There's something called border, right, for me to kind of show where this started and where this has ended or something. So border is equal to perhaps we should just define it as 2. Let's see what happens though. Okay, so what this border does is just to keep a line for me to know where I started. Okay, something of this sort, right? So this is maths English, and if you notice, the table is tiny. They are just so tiny, right? You know, and also you can see where these things started, right? And table started somewhere different. That's because we use margin and padding property of CSS on the form, and we're also going to do that for this table to give it a space here to just push it in a bit. What does pushing is margin, and what padding does is different from margin, but you might just feel it's the same thing now, but no, there are something they're very different. Margin gives it a space outside the element, right? So this is the form elements, and let me use some of this my marker, right? So margin gives it space here, you know, somewhere here. This is the margin that defined it now, and it's more like 10 pixels on the outside. Then padding does that, it gives it space inside, right? Inside this, that's the padding, you know. So that's more like the padding inside, you know. Margin is outside, the padding is inside. So if I keep on increasing this margin, it should keep on. Let me just change that to 25 or 30, and you should see what happens. Oh, did you notice that it changed, right? You know, it's a bit too tiny, but let's see. Okay, yeah, exactly. You see how my marker I outlined here is, you can't just, it's no more enclosing the first name and the submit button anymore, because I'm increasing the padding, and this outside part remains the same because it is the margin. The padding should not affect the margin. Let's give it 40. Yeah, exactly. So now what they are just doing is that they are taking space inside the element. Then this submit button is moving down. This one is growing to this side, this one is also creating space to this side, and first name is moving up. But once I do that margin now, something different should happen. Yeah, exactly. You see that now. Just move it to the side a bit, right, inside, and that's just what padding and margin does. So now you learned 2 more CSS properties and what their value should look like, and just 40 pixels for stuff like padding takes pixel values, then margin takes pixel value as well, you know. But background color takes colors, color also takes colors, you know, different type of colors, and font size also takes pixels. So now you know those ones, and you can always, that's pretty much the most important. Padding is extremely important, same as margin. And so now let's just look at building our table, right? Okay, so I just defined my 2 headers, right, and we need some more of this. We need something more like we need some of these subjects, right? Physics, right? And what's the other one? Biology, English. So we got our header, right? Our rows, right? Okay, yeah. I'm going to explain this thing more because it should look a bit fishy now, right? We got the first header and they're actually bold, right? So now we can go ahead and keep more of this, right? Keep more of this by creating a new row and putting inside this new row our cell elements or cell values. Exactly. So our cell values is denoted with the TD. So table tag is table. TR means create a new row for me. TH means create this header. Anything I keep inside is in display it as a header, and the header should be bold, like just this bold is more thicker than normal stuff. Like so now you can see our first TD right now is kind of empty. I created a TD and I can just say math average score for maths of the students in the class, maybe 85.2, right? So 85.2, right? Okay, so we can keep more of those cells, right? Cells are the most important, right? Just keep more of them. Copy this. So I just hope you should just be defining what I'm asking it to do, right? So everyone knows English, right? So the students scored more in English, and I guess they did score 92 or something, 92 average for all the students in the class, so you can submit this to stuff, so you just use table to create maybe organized stuff, and let's just wait for it to put up and see how it looks like. But it should be doing what I asked it to, but let's just fill in some of these other subject averages, so physics, well, they failed, right? I don't think they should get 85 for these, perhaps 75. Wow. The biology guy is going to be taking more of that on physics because it's a bit easy, right? Sorry. Okay, so we got this rolling, right? Let's just load in. You should see what it looks like, and you can actually add more of those cells, as much cells as you want inside a new row. It has to come inside a new row. I want to keep on defining, and oh yeah, that's how I expected it to look like, and it does look neat, right? So this is bold. This one has a normal look because this is a header and this is a cell element. So that's how it works. By doing something like this, right? So copying and pasting more of those cells should go to the next line and give me another row of cells, right? Because I just defined I need another row of cells, so it should do something like that. Yeah, exactly. So this just gives you the simple way for you to create a table, right? Table in HTML. Just need to remember all the elements involved, which are table tag, the row tag TR, the header tag TH, right? And then the cell tag CD. So you have to also know that when you're creating any new cell, you have to enclose it inside a row. So you're kind of creating a new row, then you're inserting those cell elements inside this row. If I didn't keep that row, it should keep on displaying on this part, and that wouldn't look good. So your row is always going to come every single line you're going to take. Okay, so we get that about the table now, right? Let's just give it a bit of CSS and see how it becomes a bit eye-worthy. I worded. I can't look at this, right? Okay, so we can give our table elements just like this. Now, why is that happening? Oh, okay, so that's just the outline of they're just trying to tell me this is actually the table, you know, and then this stuff is just what's going in, and maybe I should just change this to, I don't know, should I change it to row? No. Or header? No, it shouldn't look that good, but let's just see, maybe I can just do TTR. Oh well. Oh sure. However it looks like, let's just move on and do our TD, right? Our TD is the cell, so perhaps I want them to have a color inside, color blue. Okay, so now they have color blue, and turns out they also got some background color. So you can give this a background color of black. Whoa. Okay, so it kind of looks too strong, and you know, just too strong. And there's something, when you get into CSS a bit more, there's a way to change this. You can use something called opacity. Opacity is just for you to define the strength of a color, how faded it is or transparent, and how not transparent it is, you know, dark and just everything. So for you to do that, you have to do something like this: RBGA, put into this your brackets the amount of red, blue, and green colors you want to appear in that value you're keeping, right? I know you wouldn't get this, but I will just explain it more. RBG. When you define that, I want this to be black, right? I want this to be black. So definitely I don't want any red, I don't want any blue, and I don't want any green. But if I keep, how do I not keep it as that? Turns out that 0, 0, 0, 0 is, you know, it means black. Then the highest range of red is 255. Also 255, 255. Man, okay, I can't be doing that. Let me just. Sorry. So this now means I'm pretty much saying plus 1. What this means is that I need my background color to be white, and I want this A means, yeah, how transparent do you want it to be? And by putting 1, it means I'm saying I don't want it to be transparent at all. I want it to be the full color of white, you know. So by putting in this 255, I'm saying what's it? I want a white color. So by putting 0, you know, by putting everything as 0, I'm going to be telling it that I want a black color, you know. So what you just get from this is that this is a more extensive way of defining colors in CSS. You can, we have about 260 of them when you're signifying red, blue, green, violet, and so on. We have about 260 of them. But when you get into these RBG values, you can use a lot more colors. Okay, so by taking values, you get more of these different colors, so many range, you know, just different things. But just, you can keep in 5, 6, you know, just different ones. And I should be getting black here, and I don't know why I'm not getting black here. Something must be wrong. Something is definitely wrong. RBG, this is 0 point. So by keeping 0.5, I'm saying I want it to be transparent black, a bit faded on, you know. Okay, so something is wrong with that syntax here now. I'm just going to check stuff out. Okay, something is just wrong. Oh yeah, right. I kept RBGA. It should be RGBA, you know. RG, right? BA, you know. So this should work. Okay, yeah, that's it. I mistook how the letters come, right? So now it's, you can see it looks pink because it's on 0.5. There's nothing like 5, but it should just take the value of 1, but it should be 1, you know. So you can see how red it is now, and I did want black, so we're gonna be doing that. Black is now, it's thick, it's the same thing as before, so I can just put in 0.4. yeah, so it's a bit faded now. So you see, that's just how you use CSS on the long run. You can just use it and do stuff. This is now my TD, that's my cell. You take the tag and you can do anything you want with the tag, you know. Just take the tag and do stuff, define your CSS, and that would be good for just doing anything. So that's what we have in this. So just talk about the input tag, form tag, how to create a form, a few of these properties, the table tag, right? And next we should be going into advanced HTML, more like the tags, the advanced tag in HTML. But before that, I would need to just give you some of these exercises and just make sure you understand all these things. And if you have any other questions, you can always ask me. Yeah, that's about it for this lesson. Input, forms, and tables. So now you should understand these 3 in detail, and you just got introduced to some of these new HTML CSS properties, padding, margin, right? And you should understand what they do, and also this RGBA, you know, values, how you can use it to define colors in HTML, and how they have more wider range of color options to choose from, because you are just tweaking the singular values of those things. When you are doing that, you can get a wide range of colors, you know. So got this now, this and everything like that. So that will be the end of this lesson, and in the next one we'll be looking at HTML5, advanced tags, the navigation bar, header, footer, and the rest of them. So see you in the next video.